Well, hey, we've made it. It wouldn't be a Thursday without a little delay. Let me tell you, friends, for the last 3 days my butt's been getting kicked by this cold, but I wasn't going to miss today. No way. Chat, do me a favor. Can you hear me? Let me know. Well, hey. Michael in chat's here. Lovelinator, good to see you, friend. Devious as well. Now, if you hear me suddenly go mute in the midst of this program, it's because I'm having a coughing fit. Nate Robbins, I should be on the show. My talents need to be shared with the world. Nate, you are talented. Shadowcat, greetings to you. 5x5, excellent. Let me mute for a moment. No, not a stormtrooper, but a trooper. I'll accept that. I'm excited today. We've got some friends joining us. They're not doing just one actual play. They're not just doing two. They're doing three. 3 actual plays. Looks something like this. Look at that. Our 2 friends here in the corner, Tal and Matt. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is really exciting. We've been working on this for a bit, for a hot minute, but I want to get into sort of who you are, what we're doing, what you're doing, what you've done. It's an impressive group with a lot of experience doing all kinds of actual plays, and then also some actually playing with other people in the community, right? I mean, let's do this. First of all, introduce yourselves for me, if you will.
I'm Tal Aviezer of Cast Party.
I'm Matt Gordon of Cast Party.
Excellent. Now, you two are GMing. I believe. Now, Tal, you're GMing 2, and Matt, you're GMing 1 of our upcoming actual plays, right?
That's right.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. I'm super excited. I am the GM for Podcast Party, The Expanse, and Podcast Party, Dragon Age.
And I'm GMing Podcast Party, Fantasy Age.
Fantastic. Now, Podcast Party is sort of the overarching brand, sort of that's the group that you're doing. You've got a phenomenal cast as well. Where did you find these folks? That'll be
most of the folks that I think I should first of all explain that like the theater kids and the TTRPG kids,
yes.
the Venn diagram there isn't so much like overlapping circles, it's like a circle.
A like there's circle woman.
Yeah, it's almost a perfect circle. So Matt and I are both New York-based actors, and that's how we first got together. We've done a ton of shows together, a lot of classical theater, like some Shakespeare, some Chekhov, some Ibsen, all your favorite hits. And and we first started doing professional DMing and GMing as a charity fundraiser, Matt, I'm going to say, like back in 2017.
Yeah.
We were running games out of the theater to raise some money for an organization in New York called Midnight Run, which is like a homeless outreach organization. So it was like people that were fans of the theater would come in and they would get to play in games run by the actors that they'd seen on stage, and sometimes have the actors sitting at the table with them and play with them. And we thought, we have a lot of experience with production and creating props and creating terrain and performing, and these are transferable skills.
Yeah.
So we kind of spun off, a bunch of us from the theater company spun off to doing pro GMing and like site specific Dungeons and Dragons games, sometimes at mansions, sometimes at cafes, a lot of them online as well. So most of the folks that you'll see on the show are also professional actors. Some have a little bit more of a gaming background, and some are more of a production background. Mito Habe Evans, who's one of the players on podcast party, The Expanse. She's actually the lead videographer for NPR.
Oh wow.
So she has, yeah. So she has more of a media background, but she's a great player, and she's really wonderful, and she is a door kicker.
Great.
And there's no quarter asked and none given. So I'm excited for people to get a hold of her on the stream.
I love that. So a question for, so when you are making the pitch, I imagine, because you're absolutely right, that Venn diagram is a very tight circle. There are many folks who are engaged in theater that have enjoyed playing TTRPGs. It's got that theatrical element, but sometimes it's hard to root them out. Sometimes it's hard to find, to make that connection. How do you do the pitch? Like, do you just see someone kind of go, or do they want to join you? Do they hear you talking? Like, how does that work out?
I think that for that, it depends, right? It depends on the player. I think a lot of them have wanted to do this for a very long time. Some of the people on our podcasts, as well as the people who we are friends with and who we are professional actors with, have always sort of mentioned it to us in passing and sort of been like, "Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I think I remembered that from when I was, either in college or a kid or
Right.
something like that. And I've always wanted to try it out." And their skills as actors and as just natural improvisers
Right.
lend so well. It's really just a matter of understanding the game mechanics, which perfectly, frankly, they actually are pretty darn fast at picking up for the most part.
Yeah, I imagine.
I also think.
Please go ahead.
Sorry. In this case, there was the franchises that we're working with here, The Expanse particularly. I know Megan, who's an actor, who's a friend of Matt's. As soon as she heard that one of the shows we were doing was going to be The Expanse, she pretty much demanded to be on that show.
She totally did.
Yeah. I imagine that would be the case as well. People will be like, wait a minute, you do what and what, and this is about what, and want to be right in there. And The Expanse offers such an incredible, fun, also, hard sci-fi opportunity to really get into it as a character. I mean, that's, there isn't a lot of hard sci-fi out there in the TTRPG space. And so having folks be able to kind of express themselves in that genre is pretty fun. We've got lots of great streamers out there that have been doing that for some time, and looking forward to more. There's a couple questions here that I want to get into, Michael. Let's see. I'm going to start with, so this is the question. Tempo says, actual play podcast series. Is that like Critical Role? We'll see the players and their characters play out the game.
Yeah. I mean, Critical Role is the most famous actual play series on the planet. So that certainly is a great example of Critical Role. Those people are all professional actors and super talented. I guess the main difference with ours, it's primarily a podcast. So it exists in audio form, and we do a lot of soundscaping and special effects, not just music, but for The Expanse, you'll hear the ships, you'll hear the doors opening, closing, you hear people talking on comms. When the juice hits, you'll hear the juice hit. So
Love it.
it's like the perfect road trip show, I guess. Or I know personally, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm falling asleep. I won't be offended if you use ours to fall asleep as well. But they're 1 hour audio episodes, but they're based on exactly what this person is saying. It's us playing the game with our small group of actor friends.
Fantastic.
And we will be running Green Ronin's material in this case. I know for the Expanse series, for instance, we'll be using To Sleep Perchance to Dream, which is the adventure that is in the main Expanse RPG source book.
Right.
Like the main hardcover book.
Yeah, and for Fantasy Age, we're going to be doing living out my pirate dreams and using Set Sail for Breakwater Bay. So
Nice.
I can't wait to just say "arr, arr" a whole hell of a lot. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. A lot of people will be very pleased to hear that, and I think that's you will have a lot of Green Ronin fans looking forward to seeing that. So let's talk real quick about release dates and when we see these things happening, because they're not all coming out at once.
Nope.
That's correct. So the first show that we'll be releasing will be Podcast Party the Expanse, we actually recorded a pilot episode, which you will never hear, but just to get everyone used to the system, we actually played through Salvage Op, which I'm sure many of your listeners have played and enjoyed. We just took a session to make sure we weren't having all sorts of technical issues for the actual show that the people would be listening to, and people got to ease into their characters a little bit, and in some cases play with the age system adventure game engine for the first time. And we will be starting, I believe our first recording session for that show is in July. And then the show will debut in October. So there will be 4 episodes of Podcast Party the Expanse, and that will be followed by 4 episodes of Podcast Party Fantasy Age, GM'd by Matt, and then Podcast Party Dragon Age. That will probably the Dragon Age show will probably come out actually in early 2026.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, fantastic! I love it. I absolutely love it. And so then you'll be working kind of as you are GMing or episodes come out. Then you'll also be working on the next set of 4.
That's correct. And I think from theater, Matt and I are both working on shows in repertory. Some of the people listening may be familiar with that concept, where you're generally one show is in performance and the next show is in rehearsal.
Right.
Or two shows are performing at the same time with some of the same cast playing different roles in each show. And this will work very much like that.
Excellent.
So you'll see, for instance, you'll see me GMing The Expanse, and then immediately afterwards, you'll see me as a player in Fantasy Age, and vice versa for Matt.
Exactly. I'm playing a very colorful character in Tal's The Expanse game, and I'm very happy. I have not read the Expanse books, but I have become a giant nerd over the show.
Yeah.
So the opportunity just to, as many of your players have, to just leap into this universe is just it's so cool. It's just so cool. I'm so happy to do it.
Yeah, really exciting. And so here's a quick question from somebody. Michael asks, are your Foley effects added in edit?
That's exactly right. The effects are added in post, Michael. That's exactly right. So we're playing the game. We're pretty much focused on the experience of playing the game and how that works. And then there's a whole post-production round where all of that stuff is added in.
So I had this vision of the two of you like holding coconuts and shaking a box full of rice or something, but while you're actually playing. But that's hilarious. I love that.
It's about immersion. It's about immersion, Troy.
That's right. Exactly. Let's see. When is casting cast party? Mutants and Masterminds. Yeah, right. So we have another title, Mutants and Masterminds. It's not an age title, but that's for a different program, Devious. But we'll have to have a discussion once we're kind of through our next 3 actual plays and talk a little bit about Mutants Masterminds. But let's do this. Quick question. Okay, so in preparing for The Expanse, you talked about no worries. You talked about you're playing a colorful character and not having read the books. And the good news is there's a lot of similarities between the program and the books, and there are some combined characters and stuff. And we're, of course, licensed for the book, so not the show. But talk to me a bit about what is it like to prepare to play the role in a TTRPG versus when you're ready to do like you're acting in a production. I mean, is there a difference? Is there?
I can speak a little bit to that. I'm sure Tal has his own thoughts as well.
Yeah.
It's not wholly indifferent. I think that the main difference, I think, is that in a play you have the script, right?
Yeah.
And the entirety of the script lends a lot to what your character is as a character within the confines of that play.
Yeah.
Within TTRPGs, I mean, a lot of it is, you're given a background, you are given a backstory, you are given all kinds of color that your character has. I'm sure for all of us who play role-playing games, we all sort of have an idea, whether it's a tiny little 1-sentence background or a 3-page backstory that you send your DM and feel no regrets in doing so.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
But it all lends color to who your character is and what your character does through the whole course of the TTRPG sessions that you play. But within the confines of the play, you are you are sort of restricted mainly to the text and to what your opinions are about your character as guided by your director. So it's not wholly indifferent, but I think that there's a lot more play, no pun intended,
Yeah.
with TTRPG characters than you have in actual, theater.
Yeah, and so both of you as GMs and also as players, how much how much how much of a deep dive do you go into kind of developing that backstory? I mean, do you as GMs ever have to say, okay, all right, like let's settle down a little bit. Like, I don't need this 4,000 word treatise, or do you get into it that way? I mean, tell me about it. Tal looks frozen.
If Tal's frozen, he might be having a little problem with his connection. I can say, it depends, right? You have to understand your players. If your players want you to digest the love and care that they've given their characters, as well as like if you feel really strongly, if you're making your own character, about how specifically certain things in certain portions of a backstory led you to this place within your own character's story,
Yeah.
then I think it's important to honor that and to have the understanding that your players want agency within this story,
Yeah.
and to fulfill that for them. So I don't think that I think it's important to honor what they give to you, but you have to also think about yourself as a game runner, how that fits into the context of the story and the other characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Tal, we were just talking about, and I understand you might be having a little bit of internet trouble. So if you drop out, we'll just add you back in.
Thank you. I apologize to everybody. I'm on set for production of As You Like It. I just ran into this other space in the mansion where we're working. And it's the Bronx. We're doing our best.
No worries.
With the Wi-Fi
We're
here.
super flexible, and I'll tell you, since the onset and I guess subsequent cure of COVID, we've gotten used to sort of technical issues, and you could have a giraffe walk by, and we'd be like, okay, just hanging out with giraffes, that's cool. But I wanted to kind of get into the discussion about character development and how much as a GM or as a player do you make space for, and because I have certainly my own opinions, but I'm wondering if it differs at all because of your background in professional acting, if there's some limits or things that you impose, or just fill us in.
Yeah, so this is what I think acting and TTRPG playing have in common, among other things. I think, and I don't mean to sound pretentious or high-minded, but I think that both theater and TTRPGs have the effect of generating empathy among people who play them.
Yeah.
Both being able to put yourself in other people's shoes, listen to other people, care about other people, recognize the struggles and the joys and the emotions and the triumphs and tragedies of your own life reflected in the lives of the other people that you're either sitting at the table with or watching on stage or working with in a show. So actors are, I think, trained to be open to that stuff. And some of that stuff, like, I think we're socialized today to like, it's not cool to be vulnerable in that way.
Yeah.
And that willingness to be open and risk taking and vulnerable tends to make for good play.
Yeah.
So I'll say that actors tend to be not guarded in the way. Having said that, it's not a show with a script that you're just following. I know what my arc is going to be, and damn it, I'm doing this arc no matter what happens, and the game must bend to my arc. So you have to also respect the fact that it's a game, and the joy of it is to not be in control of every last thing about the story.
Right.
One of the things I love about the age system is that I think the best TTRPGs, like as the GM, you should also feel like the game is playing you. And you should be open to like, well, the game says we're making a hard left here, so we're making a hard left here. That's exciting for me as a GM to be part of that experience where you're not in total control in the way that you might be, or you might feel like you are if you're directing a play. So those 3 6-sided dice introduce something that's not present in theater.
Right.
So, and I think that is exciting for us as performers. I think
Yeah.
there's always something new around the corner. And I think this system in particular, because of the stunt system, and because of the churn, particularly in the Expanse, lends itself to it.
Absolutely a lot of fun. Chaos ensues, and it oftentimes feels like you're on that roller coaster, and you hear that you get closer and closer. You know the drop is coming. You know that it's coming, and then you get there, and who knows what that drop will be. But a lot of fun. Here's a question from our friends. Don't kill my character. How do you go about casting?
Casting the podcasts.
Yeah.
We reach out for the most part to folks who have expressed interest either prior to us saying that we're going to go ahead and do that, or if we have specific people in mind who we want to reach out to prior than them raising their hand, we'll let them know, hey, we have this podcast coming up. We haven't had a new podcast prior to the ones that Tal has GM'd and that I have GM'd for a while. But I think that when we decided now is the time to do these trio of podcasts, we really picked the people who we thought would be right for not only the actual system itself, but just for the kind of flavor that these games produce. So I think we also had to manage, our schedules and their schedules. Or if they're even if we picked the right people and their schedules didn't match, it didn't work out. But I think that we actually came to ask for people, and for the most part, they agreed, and we were very happy with our picks.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, I think particularly with looking for people for these shows, we wanted to feel like there are lots of different people from lots of different backgrounds, like different, nationalities, different genders, different sexual orientations, and so forth, so that the audience can feel like it looks like their table, hopefully.
Yeah.
People like them playing. The age range is pretty different. I think Matt and I are definitely the old men of this particular.
You're not that
particular
old,
group.
are we?
We're
I refuse.
old enough.
I refuse. I disagree.
Yeah.
I know
Old
that
enough.
feeling. You're like, wait, what? How did I become the old guy in the room? Right.
It happens.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah. And also I think there's a benefit to having some people who are like totally steeped in the lore of the setting and like already fans and will be able to bring some insideriness, but also to have like one person at each table who's like, this is their first experience.
Oh, yes.
With the setting or with this game, because I think that is also reflective of the audience's experience. And you want to show that this game works both for like your hardcore super fan, but also for somebody who this is their first time playing this.
That's right. And the two can coexist in the same experience, which
Absolutely.
is something that I think we forget sometimes, especially if we become, we ascend to a more expert level in our understanding of things. But I do appreciate that. That's really very interesting and well said. Here's another question. Okay, yeah. So Tempo asks, we touched on this just a bit, but let's maybe bring it up again there. How long will each actual podcast series take? Will it just be one session, or will each of them be a campaign?
So in this case, they're sort of mini campaigns, I guess. We're doing two 4-hour recording sessions for each show, which will yield, after editing and post-production, 1-hour episodes. So I guess like Podcast Party of the Expanse will be 4 1-hour podcast episodes, during which you'll hear us play through To Sleep Perchance to Dream. We would be happy to discuss doing more stuff after this round of actual plays. But so far, this whole series of the 3 different systems will be, we think 12 podcast like roughly 12 1-hour podcast episodes.
Nice.
4 episodes for each of the 3 game systems.
Excellent. Here's a question for you, Tal. Who are you playing and as you like it?
Jaques. All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. I won't do the whole speech, but I'm
classic. Very nice. And let's see here. I'm so available. Yes. Tell people to skip the planning scenes in TTRPGs because the dice do not care about your carefully laid plans. It's very true. I just react to each moment as it comes. Yeah, I find that it's sort of a, the classic yes and. This is like, whoa, and,
Yeah.
like something really big has happened and we're going to roll with it. I wanted really quickly to jump over to your website and just sort of say, hey, folks, you guys stop by and check it out, because in addition to, this is where you can go to kind of find updates and things as to what's going on. You can also find where these folks are at.
That's where right now. That mansion is where I am right now.
Oh,
That's
really?
right. Yeah.
You're here right now? Hey, nice.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay, and now, I do want to get into sort of what the both of you do, sort of, as actors and that kind of stuff, because it's pretty interesting. You both have a very interesting backgrounds in theater. But I wanted to also say this is where you'll find links to their Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, their Discord server. You can email them. Accolades and thank yous and all that kind of good stuff. No notes, please. And
Yeah, and you can also like our whole back catalog of podcasts.
Right.
That's right.
I hope I'm not out of line to say we're currently running something for EN Publishing. We're doing some Level Up A5E stuff on the show currently. Just
love it.
finishing up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we certainly, it's absolutely fine to mention it. And and so, go back and check out some of the back podcast episodes. Make sure that now, so this is streaming on, is it just everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere
iTunes.
that you could, anywhere that you listen to your podcast, Spotify.
Excellent.
And it's a podcast party feed.
Mm-hmm. Get it?
Fantastic.
But you can also down just listen to the
Party.
shows right on this. This is cast-party.com. They're all on the site here.
Got you. Yeah. So folks, check that out. And what else do we have here? Like I said, I picked up a shirt.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Troy.
Awesome.
You bet. Yeah, absolutely. Love that.
Oh, and they can play with us.
Yes.
So we're
tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're both professional GMs, DMs. We run a whole bunch of different systems, and we have a roster of people mainly from a performance background who are associated with cast parties. So people, hire us to run sometimes one shots for a special occasion. But I think sort of the coolest thing to do is to run ongoing campaigns. So I think Matt and I are both running 2 or 3 right now, and there are maybe half a dozen other DMs that are affiliated with us. And we also do a free monthly. So this is the June monthly free game. So just for, not everybody can obviously afford to pay a pro GM or DM to run for them. So we always do offer at least one free game every month. So if you just want to kind of check us out and get a sense of like how the quality is, whether it's something that you would like. I feel like this one is probably already sold out, but you can follow the site or Discord. Every month there's a new one available.
How fun. I love that about what it is that you're doing. And a question. So, that's $75 for 3 3-hour sessions?
Yeah. So this is an example of something that one of our game masters, I think this is a campaign that he created that's available right now, but we'll run anything from official stuff. Yeah, I think we've got a bunch of different systems there that we'll play.
Yeah.
So we're open to running all sorts of different things. Obviously, like D&D is super popular, and it's kind of like the lingua franca of TTRPG. So we do run a lot of D&D as well.
Absolutely understood. Yeah. They are the giant wizard in the room. So no worries there. Oh, but also now you are you're a gold level publisher of your own on your own right, Tal?
Well, Troy, I'm a platinum level.
How dare you call him gold level? You peon.
So that's actually a really cool story, because what we did was we sort of made a commitment that if people bought enough copies of a particular adventure of mine on DM's Guild called Secrets of the Blind Palace, that we would then do an actual play using Secrets of the Blind Palace. So people did cause this I have it gold. I should update the website.
Absolutely.
So they did make this go platinum, and then we did an actual play based on that adventure. That was really nice.
Now, how much have you published over there on the DM's Guild?
Not as much as I should, because it's I love doing it, but I probably only publish like one or two things a year. But I've been very fortunate that the stuff that I've done has been really well received. It's a hard. I don't need to tell you, it's like a tough business to kind of break through and get people to buy third party material like that. I have a few things on Drive Through RPG as well, where all of the Green Ronin stuff is available as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been publishing one or two things a year since like 2017, I think. But yeah,
Nice.
it's all there under my name. And my wife, Carrie, who's also you'll also hear on the Expanse. She's actually an exhibit artist and designer for the Wildlife Conservation Society, which is like all the zoos and aquarium in New
Oh,
York.
wow.
So she's a professional artist, but she also does like all the maps and a lot of the art for my adventures, and also a lot of the character art for Cast Party as well. Like she'll make the art of our characters. So it's great. And she's made, when we do physical games in person, she does a lot of the props and costumes and stuff, like puppets, like our imp puppet and stuff like that.
How fun. I love that. Now, I wanted to also see which, let me click. Is it About Us that shows all there we go. This has got pictures of everybody, most everybody, I'm imagining.
Mhm. Yeah,
Excellent.
so like there's that first group that's like the main Cast Party, and now like if you keep scrolling down past Matt, sorry Matt, like these are like the affiliated these are like the DMs that are affiliated with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you keep scrolling down, I think there's Rachel Savicki, who's also a independent publisher.
I like this guy's
You'll
shirt.
see.
Big death energy.
Yeah,
That's canon.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
T-shirt is very symbolic of him.
Yeah, a lot of people will know Joe, Joe Rassa, who we worked with early. Yeah, we worked with early on, who's now gone on to do a lot of great stuff in the TTRPG space.
Well, fantastic. I love that. And a great website, by the way. Fantastic. It's always nice to be able to click around and sort of see, all the information that you want. That's oftentimes it just sort of demonstrates, I going through all your stuff, like you're a pro organization, like you're doing stuff for real. And that's very exciting.
Thank you. That really gives me imposter syndrome, but I appreciate it.
We are worth it, Tal. We're worth it.
You are.
Professionalism is being maintained.
That's so right. I love that.
Yeah.
I think at the point in time when you have such a great website that you really do have to sort of let go of the imposter syndrome and sort of just ease into the fact that you're doing this professionally. And that's really great. I love that. I love that you are, doing so many different things as far as like, it's not just sort of a bunch of actors dabbling in this fun little thing. You're really in it up to your eyeballs.
Yeah, I think 13-year-old me, his cork would really be popped if it was explained to him that people would one day pay me to play role-playing games with them. What a time to be alive.
Yeah,
I love that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Matt. Were you going to add something?
No, it's very true.
Yeah.
I love the idea that we can do the things that we've always imagined that we would do, receive the benefits of the people liking what we do, and feeling that we have ways to increase the outreach, right? So we're not just confined within our own group of friends, that we have a way of showcasing to a group of people, whether it be the internet or just various groups of friends, that what we're doing is important, not only for the sake of having fun with our friends, but just for the sake of showcasing that it's great to play games with with not just your friends, but with people that can just open up their worlds. And I think that for I can say this for myself. I hope I can say the same for Tal. When we play with new people who have come to Cast Party, it's been an overwhelmingly positive experience, which is of course affirming, self-affirming, but it's also makes them realize when they've come to us, either having not played at all or played with groups that they've felt a little ambivalent about, that this increases the positivity within this community, which is what we really wanted to do, right?
Yeah, I in that vein, I also just wanted to mention there's a player, Katie Lear, who you will hear later on the Dragon Age section of this. It comes from the New York theater scene. She was an actor, but she sort of left acting profession and became a psychotherapist. But she incorporates Dungeons and Dragons into her therapy. She has a group called Young Dragon Slayers, and they do sort of social emotional growth work using role-playing games for kids. And it's been really interesting learning about the therapeutic effects of role-playing games. I mean, I think any of us who play sort of know, like, yes, this is broadly therapeutic. But to get to work with somebody like that, to hear about some of the specific ways it makes differences for people, is really rewarding. And that's one of the reasons, aside from she's a fantastic player and actor, why I'm really happy we got her for this series as well.
What a great background too, to be able to kind of get up there and participate. I will tell you that it's very interesting that there is a disconnect when folks really do enjoy playing TTRPGs, and I will always say that TTRPG GMs and players are truly the best storytellers known to mankind. I mean, there's not another sort of way that you can sort of practice your skill and and perfect the art of it all. But TTRPGs have been doing that since, well, for a long time. And
I think there's a lot of showrunners in Hollywood right now.
I was going to just say that.
First learn to be creative on a deadline, which is a very important skill. But you have to have your material has to, when you're a teenager running for your group, like, your session's got to be ready for Friday night pizza and whatever else you're going to have your stuff together, and then 7 days later there's got to be another episode, and that is really transferable to the entertainment industry. That's like where we have to be creative, and we have to be creative on time.
Right. That's very well put. And I think I'll borrow it in the future as I opine about how wonderful GMs are. Just the notion of you really come out of that. I don't think you realize it's sort of the water gets hotter and hotter, and then suddenly it's boiling, and you realize I've been project managing this for a decade. With you running a long a sort of a long campaign. And if you can I'll tell you this, if you can schedule just one TTRPG event around a table, you've done something just absolutely outrageous. Like, it is against all odds. You got all of these people together around a table to play this game with you, which requires a lot of investment and time and hours and all of that stuff. It's a challenge to even just get that far. And so once you've got that down, to continue it's very remarkable. The people, the GMs that I work with, they are creative on time. Many of them creative, but not necessarily on time. We all have the one shot that turns into the 5 shot.
Sure.
We have even some staff. Alex Thomas, I'm talking to you. Who would do that kind of stuff on the regular. But I love it, though. I mean, there could be worse elements of I'm sorry, I am so creative. All I have is more. Which
right. Yeah. Also, just quick plug for GMing, because I know I think pro GMing is like pretty accepted by this point, but there's still some people who it's blasphemous, and I get it, and that's fine. But I would say, regardless of whether you think of my quality or Matt's quality as a GM, one of the cool things about pro games is they happen. Like,
it's very true.
If people are the kind of people who are invested enough to be dropping $20 or $25 to play 3 hours of a role-playing game at a certain set time, odds are everyone involved in that game is a priority for them, and they're pretty like dedicated and into it. So it's like part of what you're paying for is the certainty that you're going to have that experience on a regular basis, and to have the scheduling nightmare of the game kind of taken out of your hands and put into the hands of somebody who's being paid to deal with that craziness.
I want to add something. First of all, I see in chat that someone says that the arch villain of the game master is scheduling, and I could not agree more. The BBEG is the schedule, right? Exactly. If you can beat that on a week by week basis, or even bi-weekly, or even monthly, just to get the people in the room or in your Zoom, then you've taken one step closer to your goal.
Right.
I think that so just anecdotally, I run a game for 7 players, all of whom are friends from when they were kids.
Yeah.
These kids obviously grew up, and now they are in their late 30s, early 40s, and they are all still very close friends. And they're disparately located. They're from, some of them are in Canada, and some of them are in California, and some of them are in Ohio. So time zones, obviously, being what they are massive stumbling blocks for getting together on a Saturday night or something like that. And yet, the power of them being together and ribbing each other time and time again, and laughing at each other, and gasping at some of the story moments,
Yeah.
it just brings them back over and over and over again. That power, that care, honestly, that extends beyond the game is what makes these kinds of things really important for me as a game master, and makes me want to take the utmost care with their experience as players.
Yeah. Shadowcat mentions that they did D&D for their counseling course, and
Oh,
TTRPGs for kind of social good and all of that.
Yeah.
It may not, on the surface, people kind of go, huh? But, they don't often. I will say that there are many people who play TTRPGs are having just for great fun playing the game, and don't realize how much work they're doing just on themselves, just as they kind of evolve their character or they react to situations, and how much work is sort of being done to make sense of the world, and not just through storytelling, but through, surviving and what that means. And there are so many great organizations. I'm really pleased to hear. I feel like that one of the sort of evolutions you go through as somebody who really enjoys TTRPGs is when it transcends just a fun game to, it's a fun game, but it's also it's a portion of my career, or it's what I do professionally. It's what I do to get through, to make it, to sort of learn and to grow and to evolve as a human. And I've gotten some business in the past from, members of the community who, it's not all that, but it really is. And I'm pretty confident in that, because as someone who has experienced that, but to see what other people, they come away just better people. And I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
It provides a structure for friendship, I think. And sometimes, like, having an activity, like a frame around your friendship, can be really helpful. And I know, like, for me personally, during COVID, like, I would take an online game of D&D, like, easily over those really dire, like, online happy hours that people, like, if I have a choice of like what 2 things to do on Zoom, like, I would definitely rather be playing a role-playing game. Yeah.
The awkward silences, just like, okay, anybody want to say anything?
Nope. I know, right? Yeah. Wait till they're done
Rough.
shopping, and then we'll it's very rough. But yeah, absolutely. And I do like that framework for friends to connect and continue to connect and have new memories, even if they're so far apart. I mean, that's one of the great things. I do believe that if there can be a silver lining around COVID, it is the opportunity to connect digitally has become a little bit more ubiquitous and accepted.
Agreed. I think that you hit the nail on the head with that. I think that there's a reason why role-playing games really spiked, not just within one particular game, but just you watch the actual player bases of all of these different disparate TTRPGs like come out of the woodwork between, say, 2014 and 2020, and then 2021, just everything kaboom, because there was this just like you take all of these different particular marks of, we're at home and we can't go outside and we have to find something to do, and I want to feel fulfilled and not have to doom scroll.
Right.
Well, I want to do something new. Great. Well, I'm not going to take up knitting because I don't know how to. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons, I always wanted to try it. And my friend says he plays Dungeons and Dragons online. How do I do that? Oh, well, let me get in touch with these people. And next thing you know, it just sort of virally grows.
Yeah.
No pun intended, alongside COVID. But yeah, it did, in fact, sort of happen that way.
Right. And I was going to say, I do believe Will Wheaton, of course, being a contributor of I do believe that on the ascension of the hobby into something a little bit more, I think a big part of it too is people kind of coming to terms with the fact that GM work is work.
Yeah.
It's real work. It's a lot of heavy lifting. Go ahead.
And that actual plays are a way to expose people to the game, in the way that didn't really exist, when we were kids.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's a huge part of the ecosystem and largely a very positive part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I will say here in the Thursday studio, we are big fans and proponents of pro GMs. It's I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. And when I think it also exposes you to just some real great talent. I mean, I think that one thing that I love about the TTRPG space is the experience that you're having is the experience you get to take some tools away from that. And you get to, sort of incorporate and sort of see what it is, how a certain person kind of approaches framing a story and walking people through and also reacting, in that sort of extemporaneous way. That stuff that's like a master class, so I really encourage folks to go out and hire them a pro GM and sit down and play and have fun and watch like a hawk the things that they're doing. And it's also been my experience that it's not as though you're going to be sitting down and the GM is going to be doing their thing and it'll all be trade secrets and they'll like fight you if it's continued growth and exchange of the way things are done. And I love that. It's unique to TTRPGs, really.
There's no real competition,
right.
of any kind. I never. I can say this for certain. When I hear Tal or any of the other GMs who are part of Cast Party play their games, I take things from them and learn and grow from that. And I go, okay, that's really cool. I'm going to borrow from that. Of course, I'll tell my players, I'm like, okay, I got this from Tal or I got this from whatever, because whenever like just sort of co-opt it. But I think that it's important to always be growing. And I don't think within our group, and I would hope within the player, the GM, pro GM base as a whole, that people like are able to say, I don't need to compare myself to Matt Mercer or Brendan Lee Mulligan or any of these folks, because you are who you are in whatever stage of a GM, pro GM or just GMing with your friends. You make those games your own. So
it's an incredibly generous community. I would also say if anybody watching this is interested in becoming a pro GM, play at as many different tables as you can for exactly that reason. Like get exposed to as many different GM styles as you can, and also like read as much material by as many different publishers and as many different systems as you can. It's like a salad bar, and you're not going to like everything at the salad bar, but you will make discoveries and get exposed to things that were completely out of your framework and expectations, and that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when I think about Age, there are, we've got the Age creators group that they are publishing and, creating stuff on DriveThruRPG, much like the GM's Guild. But there are places there to kind of think of new stuff. We've actually got the AtomicThinkTank.com, which is our kind of our community hub. In there, we've got some homebrew stuff. And that's one of the things that the Adventure Game Engine lends itself well. So if you play one, you kind of have unlocked all the rest. There are some twists and some new features and things, like the churn and other elements. But there is there's a whole sort of universe of Adventure Game Engine games that you can borrow a little bit here and borrow a little bit there. And the idea here is much like you do as a skilled GM, borrowing things from inspiration. You can do the same with some of the tools and kind of mix and match and do that sort of kind of shake it up and make sure that the Adventure Game Engine elements that you're using fit your storyline or the elements that you want to kind of put forth and the experience you want to create for players. So there's that piece of it. Thank you for the link, Duke. Hey, Duke, the other thing I wanted to ask you, would you drop the Discord invite? I was going to grab it and then I forgot. But for folks who may not know, the Grad is our Green Ronin Atomic Assembly Discord, once known as the Age Appropriate Discord. We have now adopted it. It is the official Discord for Green Ronin.
Nice.
And any other Discord that you might have been a part of will be going away soon. Yeah,
I have recently joined the grad, so if anybody has follow-up
Hey!
questions about any of this stuff, you can find me on there. I think I'm there on my real name, which is Tali the Azer.
I literally just joined it
Woo!
right now. I'm now
Fantastic, gentlemen.
graduate.
Yeah.
A gradite.
Graduate. Yeah.
We need to work on that. Hey, Duke, what are we calling people who are members of the grad? Are they, they're just grad? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Gradients. Let's see here. I want to make sure we cover a couple of questions. We are coming up on the hour, but let's see. Can I trade children in for game nights? Asking for a friend. Well,
that we will not discuss. I will not opine on that. Sorry.
Let's see here. Oh, here's the question I was looking for. Where did you get your theater education?
Education.
I'll go first, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. I was educated at the National Theater Institute, which is the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Waterford, Connecticut, and then I studied with the Royal Shakespeare Company over in Stratford-on-Avon in England. But the real education is the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
The mean streets of New York, and doing a lot of shows and a lot of small theaters. But those, if anybody's looking for a good conservatory, the National Theater Institute is great. And if anybody, of course, the Royal Shakespeare Company doesn't need my endorsement, but I give them a big thumbs up. Also,
endorse.
Yeah,
that's great.
They'll just have it on their website. I'm saying now. I heartily endorse the Royal Shakespeare.
Now they've made it.
Yeah, woohoo!
Yeah. As quoted on the Thursday podcast. Yeah. Okay, how about you, Matt?
So I mean, I after school, I went as well to London. I don't know how we missed each other at all, because I was at RADA while you were at.
I was not at RADA, dude. I was at the Royal Shakespeare Company.
I'm sorry. We're just like we're one step down from the Royal Shakespeare Company. It has the word royal
real
in it.
Work.
Okay, fine. See,
For the Queen, even on that. Yeah, that's nice.
The Royal Academy of Dramatic Art is under.
Matt's program is much harder to get into than mine.
No, it wasn't. Well, actually, okay, I won't say it was.
Yeah.
But no, it was tough. It was like a 1-year program. I had never been to London before. It was eye-opening in the best possible way. But Tal's estimation of the real edumacation, which I'm now going to use forever, thank you so much, is indeed the work that you do. Starting off
shows.
Just keep doing theater, man. That's the way you do it. You just want to keep increasing your skills, keep networking, keep understanding your limits, and then moving past them. Take the classes that you feel are going to be right for you. There are several classes I could probably name drop, but at this point,
I also did. I mean, you're gonna do a bunch of stuff that you'll regret too, but that's fine.
For sure.
A bunch of like Zoom morning radio shows, like dumb comedy spots, and
I love that.
Every experience is neither a success or a failure. It is simply experience. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I've also I did some for Sony, like some video game voice acting.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that in your bio. Yeah, that's great. Do you know what? Can you share what games that?
I can't, unfortunately, because they just own it, and
they'll kill him. They'll find him and kill him.
Having done some work with SOE, Sony's video game, they will. They'll just drop from the ceiling.
Yep,
right in there.
Shooting in.
That's right. Fantastic. Well, so listen, we are we've run out of time. As per the usual on the show, we have guests, we talk, and we could talk for another 2 hours. I wanted to also just say thank you for deciding to go in the age direction and kind of play with the adventure game engine. I'm just so impressed.
Thank you for having us. I'm so excited. I'm a huge fan of The Expanse. Unlike Matt, I've read all 9 books, which makes me better than him. I'm also a huge Dragon Age fan from way back, the original, all the way through the modern game, which the Veilguard, which I also liked. But I'm just a huge fan of both of those franchises, and I'm so excited to have this opportunity from Green Ronin to play in those worlds. And I hope that everybody checks it out, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy making it.
Oh, they will check it out, or else I'll come rappelling down through their ceiling and quickly change the to whatever they're listening to your podcast.
You guys are giving Troy too much power. This is
That's
what happens, folks.
That's
Okay?
right. They did sign something before they decided to listen. But there was another thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and this was, David, you said something in chat that I wanted to. What was it? Let me see. I'm all hopped up on cold meds, so who knows where I'm going
You're
with
doing
this.
a great job being on cold meds. I'd
Thank
three
you.
sheets to the wind by now.
Oh yeah, I'm very much there. Very much there. Let's see. Well, I know that David had mentioned, hey, how's that like button looking, or something along those lines. And basically, it was a cue for me to say, hey, folks, wherever you're watching us, whether you're over on YouTube, maybe you're hanging out on Moonbeam. Now, Moonbeam is a new service out there that they've created just for they've created it with TTRPG streamers in mind, with great moderation powers. They're in beta right now, and they're rolling out new features and stuff all the time. We are broadcasting there because we love them, and we really, really appreciate the team. So make sure that if you're watching over there, or if you're not watching over there, that head on over to Moonbeam and just be a part of our growing community. I'll share a link here shortly. Hustling with the Robitussin. That's pretty much right. It is absolutely Robitussin GM. That's the dextromethorphan that makes it work. Yeah, that's what it was. Where's everyone's like button? Make sure you're giving us a like. Make sure you're giving us a share. I think Father's Day is around the corner. I don't. Is it? The
15th.
The 15th. You know what Dad loves? Live streams about TTRPGs. Send a link. Just say happy early Father's Day, Dad, and or late Mother's Day, Mom, or whatever. It's somebody's day somewhere, and make their day by sending them a link to this show and making sure that you're liking and subscribing. If you're on YouTube, just caress the bell gently. That's all you have to do, and then you will be able to get a notification every time we go live. Which is, while it may be many, it's always good. Well, it's maybe many, and it's always mid. It's not necessarily. Let's see. It's from bad to mid, but we do it for you, and that's what really bad. That's what really counts.
Yeah.
Oh yes, right. You guys you may not be aware of this, but I'm actually in canon. I'm a disembodied mist.
Like a specter.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm supposed to look. Like, I don't have eye lines at all. So
I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you, right there with you.
Is Troy in the room right now?
Right. David Pillak says, he mentions that he has a dehumidifier, which is
yep,
my one weakness. Now that
go.
I think about it. Gentlemen, what an absolute delight. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody for listening. I'm sorry that I dropped out of the feed conservatively.
Not a problem. You see how effortlessly we just rolled with it. We are no strangers to technical issues, and I find it's not the technical issue, it's how you react to it. And so thank you for persevering, and really looking forward to these actual plays. This is going to be so much fun. And I gotta tell you too, I love a stream. I really do. But sometimes you just want to do some laundry and not have to watch everything that's going on, or you just want to listen and hear a thing, have it playing in the background, and still be engaged and still be able to get your fix, but not have to sit and stare at a screen sitting in your chair all day, So absolutely love this. I think it's great. You are a phenomenal addition to our group, our family. And here's a question: as you begin to as these pieces sort of fall in place and we start to hear the episodes, can we have you back on to talk a little bit about it? Maybe meet some of the other cast members?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'd love to come back.
Fantastic. Well, then count on an invite for sure. I'm very excited about this. And again, just such a pro group. Really appreciate all of the stuff that you do to kind of make this happen. It's a delight and a pleasure, and I don't really have to do a lot other than just share all the good stuff that you're doing, which is really my preferred situation. Sharing other people's great work is fantastic.
Thanks so much, Troy, and thanks to Green Ronin, and thanks to everybody who tuned in for
everybody in chat. You're all amazing.
They are very amazing. They're a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, but every once in a while they deign to do well, which is nice. All right, gentlemen. Well, I will let you go. I've got a few updates that I want to share with the community. We'll have you back on again and soon, and look forward to the launch of the first podcast.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Take care.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Take care.
everybody.
So what a cool group of people. I'm super, super stoked to that they're a professional organization. As when we first started talking, I took a look at their website. We were kind of chatting about all the things they do. I was like, holy smokes, these are the legit peeps. They're doing the real thing. And they like age stuff, which I like age stuff as well. And I know Chad does too. And so having Tal and Matt here was phenomenal. Seeing what they produced in the past, I really encourage you to go check out their website. That's cast-party.com and check out all the good stuff that they've done in the past, and maybe pick up some merch. Why not support your new BFFs to be? What else do I have cooking here? Look at June. There's so much going on in June. Of course, we've got, it's Pride Month. We just had a great Pride M&M episode where Steve and Alex and I just kind of talked about making the game fun and incorporating LGBTQIA folks, talking about, Disney sort of the villainy of Disney, and how deeply the roots go into the LGBTQ community. It was really a great show. Hopefully you can go check that out. That was last Monday's show. It was really great, and I loved it. But we've got all kinds of things happening. I'm feeling like here I am at the end of the show. I'm taking my temperature. I think I feel like, yeah, let's do office hours. Of course, I reserve the right to shrink away and head to bed early. But yeah, come get tanked with me this afternoon or evening for most. That'll be in about an hour. And all you have to do is go to atomicthinktank.com, click on the link, and it's a Zoom meeting. I'm feeling a little tanky today. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tempo. I wanted to ask about the Blue Rose and all that stuff, but they're right in the midst of working on the 3 different programs, and so I didn't want to add on to any expectations. So outside of just very much appreciating them attending and chatting with us, very exciting to see where they're going to go with it and how they're going to incorporate all their experience into telling stories based powered by the Adventure Game Engine. It's very exciting. Is Robitussin? Yes, Robitussin is optional for you, not for me. Okay, well, friends, I think that's a show. What do you think, everybody? You feel like have we done it? Have we done the show? Do you feel like maybe we're at the end? I think so. Want to thank Chad again. You are all an hour is midnight here. Chattercat, if you can join, that's okay. You don't have to. But Tempo, don't be sorry. I just didn't want to layer on any more expectation outside of the fact that we're just really pleased and can't wait to hear what they produce. Very thankful to chat for hanging out. Don't forget to join us for Mutants Masterminds Monday. As this week comes to a close, Monday is sort of a kickoff to the week, and I'm telling you, there's no better way of kind of opening your Monday than by coming by and we have a lot of fun. Of course, that's with the Mutants Master Daddy himself, Steve Kenson, line lead Alex Thomas, and then me, your friend to the end. Yeah, thank you, David. Next time, hang on over at Moonbeam. Maybe tonight, as we're getting tanked together, we can talk a little bit about programming, community programming on Moonbeam. Thank you, Parvati. I will get better soon. I'm actually feeling better, but you can hear it in my voice. I'm certainly not the best. Who is the best? You all are. Thank you again for listening. I will either see you tonight at our Get Tanked with Troy office hours. That's at 4 p.m. Pacific, or at a future Mutants Masterminds Monday, or here on Thursday. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.